Hi, and welcome to day 6 of our trip to Israel. This was one of the most memorable days.
Yes,
I think
for sure.
it was
Absolutely
my personal
memorable.
favorite day.
Mine too.
Yeah, it really was. So this was the day that we were to visit some very significant places in Christian history, and that would be the Garden Tomb and the Garden of Gethsemane in particular. So let's get started, and we will take you along in these really amazing places that we got to visit. The plan for the day was to first visit the Garden Tomb, then drive up to Brigham Young University Jerusalem Center for our Sabbath service called a sacrament meeting. Following our meeting, we were to drive to the traditional site of the upper room where Jesus and his disciples held the Passover or Last Supper before Jesus entered the Garden of Gethsemane. And the Garden of Gethsemane would be our final stop of the day. Our tour guides had reserved a private section for us to spend an hour or so. There was something sweet about being at the Garden Tomb early in the morning. The property is maintained by a non-denominational British organization called the Garden Tomb Jerusalem Association, so there was no church there. Instead, there are paved walkways lined with flowers and shrubs, and lots of places to sit and ponder and feel the beautiful spirit that is there.
People are allowed to enter a few at a time to view the tomb thought by many to be the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, the man who offered his tomb to the crucified Jesus and from where Jesus was resurrected 3 days later. There is, of course, disputations among scholars and archaeologists about whether it is or it isn't the place of the Savior's burial and resurrection. It really doesn't matter. What matters is he is not there. And again, whether it is or it isn't the exact spot, being there provided us time and a place to ponder the most significant event in human history, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Shabbat, or the Sabbath in the Jewish religion, is held on Saturday. Christians traditionally celebrate the Sabbath on Sunday, or the day of the week we believe Jesus' resurrection took place. But currently, Latter-day Saints hold Sabbath day services on Saturday in Israel out of respect as well as practicality. Brigham Young University Jerusalem Center sits high atop Mount Scopus in Jerusalem. It recently reopened to students and visitors after being closed for COVID, so it was nice we were able to go up there for our church service.
Our next stop was the traditional site of the Last Supper, the upper room. Like so many places in Jerusalem, the site of the upper room is hotly debated as to whether it really was or wasn't the actual site. But it is likely that the final Passover of the Lord's mortal life occurred in a room similar, at least, to this one. This location is also traditionally thought to be where the disciples gathered after the Lord's resurrection.
We visited the Garden of Gethsemane late in the afternoon. It was cool and a little rainy, but it did not dampen our joy and peace at being in that sacred place. Some of the olive trees there are very old, and it was amazing to learn that even in their old age, they can still bear fruit.
If you remember from our Nazareth Village video, our guide explained the meaning of the word Gethsemane. In Hebrew, it is Gat Shemanim, or oil press. He explained the ancient process of crushing and pressing the oil out of the olives. In this place, Jesus too was crushed and pressed under the weight of the sins of the world. He bore that and so much more that we might live.
Again, whether it is or isn't the exact spot doesn't matter as much as having a sure knowledge that Jesus did indeed suffer in or near that place for us, that we might not suffer for our own sins.
So that was how we spent our Sabbath day in Jerusalem. It was just a lovely day.
It really
was.
wonderful.
It really was. I think from the morning in the Garden Tomb, and really kind of appropriate to go there in the morning since we know that Jesus was resurrected in the morning of the third day. And so nice. It was nice to be in that place at that time with the flowers and the birds. It was really, really lovely. And yeah, and then
being able to go to the Garden of Gethsemane and see the places in the upper room also, and see the places where the Savior spent the last few hours of his life and where he was then crucified and resurrected. It was really quite meaningful.
And these things don't, we have a strong belief in the Savior without having seen these places.
Right. It's not that seeing these places created the belief. The belief is there, and it was just deepened.
Yeah. And it's special to see the places that you read about.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned it numerous times in this series about how rugged the landscape is and how hilly everything is. And so the newfound respect for the amount of walking that they would have done and the work that it took just to get around is really quite amazing. So, and then to see these beautiful old trees and
they're pretty gnarled up.
They're really gnarled up. But
it's amazing. You look at the tree and go, if you just had a picture of the trunk, you go, that's dead. It's not really living and couldn't do anything. But sure enough, they're alive and they're producing olives still.
And whether they were or were not there at the time of the Savior is not relevant either. That is the kind of tree that was there in the garden where he suffered. And we are grateful to have had the opportunity. We are more grateful to him for all that he did for us. So that's going to do it for our Sabbath day video. We hope that you continue to join us for the last couple of our Israel-Egypt tour. We have a few more things we'd like to share with you, and we're very happy and grateful for those of you who have watched from the beginning. So that's going to do it for us. So thank you so much for watching, and you take care.
Bye.